Hi, I'm deciding that I'm going to send you a video blog tonight. It's Thursday night in Spokane. I've had a chance now to watch all of your micro-teaching lessons, read all of your comments, read the discussion board where you posted the pluses and minuses of the mini courses that you were teaching, micro lessons. I've read your lesson plans, and all I can say is, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was a pretty wild ride, an interesting experiment. It had lots of positives. It had some negatives, but seems like it was great learning, and that's the part I liked the best. That being said, I've summarized some of your comments. Um, all of you thought it was fun, but a real technical challenge, and some of you really realized the technological limitations you were faced with, and I understand that as well. I struggled with the same thing that you did. So this is one of those teachable moments that you can think about as your own teaching. When you try something new, what might work, what might not work, what's the pluses, what's the minuses, what you would do differently in the future, just as you did, and that's what I'm thinking as well. Um, some of you said the best part about this whole project was that the team. You got to know your team better. You saw them face to face. You were able to listen and try and learn and grow together by experimenting with something you had never done before. Something drew you to this, and you learned some things along the way, like those people who had a pre-meeting found that pre-meeting was really helpful to try to do that, but it didn't solve every technological problem because the pre-meeting might not have had the same technological problem as a post-meeting. And one of the things you learn as a teacher is that you live and die by the technology at some point. So it's always important to have some kind of a backup that allows that technology to go to the back if need be. Some of you said this was the favorite, most great experience you've had thus far in your whole career at Gonzaga. That you really valued the teaching part of what you did, and that you lived with that experiment, and that it struggled, but it will stay with you, and you all know something you would do better in the future. I know that some of you were disappointed with the technology. I was as well. I was equally frustrated with you on that. So you were very brave, and I know that it was painful, and some of you were uncomfortable with yourself on camera. That's part of the process of learning to be comfortable in yourself and with your experiment. And yes, we do make these vocal segregates in our speech, ums and ahs and likes and ohs. That's part of that. Also, I think the technology of sitting in front of a camera, if you didn't have a light or you didn't have good lighting or you couldn't hear or see, that all threw you off. And again, that's part of the challenge. And some of you said, hey, the best part about this is I had great students. My 2 or 3 people were like terrific. They asked questions, they answered, they acted like good students, and you were very proud to have there. So there was a very valuable experience. It was great for many of you to have that opportunity to teach a class, even if it was a micro class. My own intention was I probably should have said, oh, limit this to a 10-minute mini lesson. Take one theme from the class you're going to teach and teach that theme well. Of course, sitting down in front of a chair or a camera like this maybe lowers your energy level some, because some of you had a very passive energy level, and that would concern me a little bit in classroom teaching, because really energy comes from the teacher, and the students get to be more energized as you do that process. I think that was very good. I think it's a valuable experience. I know that one of the students mentioned there was just too much content with too little bandwidth, and that frustrated you in that trying to use video clips, trying to use YouTube. But for some people, all those things work like smooth as silk. It has to do a little bit with the technology you have access to in your own home, on your own computer, and so you were challenged by that. One of you said, I am much better in person than I was in my micro class. You had people come to your rescue, though, and say, that's not true. You actually did quite well. But yes, when we put that microscope on ourselves and look closely, it can be threatening and uncomfortable. But I know all of you did very, very well and would do better in the future. I think that the micro-teaching part got a little bit out of focus at sometimes because you were worried about the technology, but overall, I think it was very good. And most of you thought it's a great tool with a little practice. You're actually preparing more for the future of what learning and teaching will be like and your own comfortability with using that. So I could say nothing but positives about that. Some of you actually called it a wonderful experience. As I went through each of the lessons that you taught, and of course, I didn't set any clear time limit. So some of the lessons were as long as an hour. So as you can imagine, I sat through 20 or 21 of you who all presented these lessons, shortest being somewhere about 7-8 minutes, average length about 24, and some as much as an hour. I thought, oh, I, as a teacher, should have set better limits. I should have thought more like I do in a speech class and say, here is the time limits for this exercise. Here are the technologies you might want to include. Here are ones that might give you trouble. I do think I suggested you have this pre-meeting and do that, but I didn't understand it enough myself, really. So in this case, not perfect, but I think it has some real potential. So the thing I want to say for all of you is, although I went through and that assignment itself, the micro lesson, was worth 20 points each, and my first going through of reviewing those, I gave everybody a different percentage of points based on what I thought about the whole thing. Now I've gone back and I've gone through all your comments about the micro-teaching lesson and your peer commentary, and I've decided, no, everybody learned a lot from the exercise. Everybody did different kinds of lessons, but as a matter of fact, the energy, the willingness to try, the experimentation of that, the frustration with the technology that wasn't completely in your hands, I've decided that everybody in the class will get a full 20 points. In one way, I could say, well, we're going to give 0 points for that. It was an experiment, we'll drop it. But no, I do want to praise you for your efforts and your hard work. Again, you're all planning on being teachers. You all will find these things that come up to be challenges or difficult. Hopefully, you'll find a way that you think, for me, this seems to make the most sense, that I'm awarding everybody 20 points for their efforts, their growth, their struggle, their potential to take a good idea and go further with it. And that's really the sense that I have at Gonzaga. That's the sense I have of our COMEL program. When I say go big or go home, you all went big. The reality was imperfect, but a great first attempt. At that, I want to congratulate you and thank you so very much.